Decentralization should never be a goal as such. Decentralization is a tool for better public policy. Now, decentralization usually makes it easier for people to get the level of services and the type of services they want in the region they live in than when it's provided at the central level, simply because the central level is physically and in a sense, intellectually further away. They're just, they're 500 kilometers away. They may not be the same language group, may not be living in the same climate zone as the people are. And so, if it's a local people that decide for themselves, usually are the best judges of what they need. And the corollary of that, of course, if they decide for themselves, they'll be more willing to pay for the services than if it's imposed on them. The main obstacle of decentralization, you can think of them as, in a sense, legal. Is there a proper division of powers, for example? Is the central government capable of delivering what it promises on? And then you can think of them as societal. That is, do we have, for example, an issue that was raised by a question there, a tribal group that will resent having its power taken away by a superimposed, quote, democratic institution, the elected councillor or elected regional council or whatever. That's a second type of obstacle. And the third type of obstacle is simply that in some countries, decentralization can be seen as a dangerous first step down the slippery slope of dissolution of the country. So, either it's not well designed in the text, either there's resistance on the ground or lack of demand, or there is perhaps a fear that decentralization can bring about issues. Yeah, I gave 11 conditions of success, but in a sense there's a prerequisite condition, which is that the people want it. So if a decentralization is imposed by 10% of the population, or by a dictator, or by an interested subgroup, forget about it. So you've got to have buy-in from most political powers, parties, groupings, and so forth. Once you've got that, then I think that the three key conditions are, from the European Commission perspective or from donors' perspective, to have a local champion is a key issue. You cannot bring in decentralization from abroad. It's not going to stick. It's not going to work. So there must be, this local support must translate into an institution, a body, a person, a politician, depends across countries, that will push decentralization through. Once you've done that, for that to work, there's two things that matter: money and people. And I think people matter more than money, because if you don't have competent civil servants at the decentralized level, it's going to fail. And people will say, we told you decentralization wouldn't work, a terrible thing. No, it's not that. You didn't have the right people to make it work, then it doesn't work, and you say it won't work. You've got to have the properly trained people that will stay there, and they must have the financial resources to carry out the work you promise. You decentralize competencies and you don't give them money, then again people will say, we told you it wasn't going to work. Yes. You told them to maintain the schools, and you did give them the school maintenance budget. Of course they didn't do it. So, championship, competent people, sufficient resources. In a sense, what's in the presentation can be taught as a checklist that you can use in various situations. I'll give one example from the recent document that the EC put out, which says that if you're unsatisfied with the central government behavior, you may reduce the budgetary support and give some more to local authorities or communities. That's what the phrase says. How do you decide between the two? Well, you could use the 11 success condition and decide, well, yes, the community structure in this country is quite weak, the local government structure is quite strong, so I'm more likely to succeed if I go that way. And the other country, because of traditional tribal allegiances, ethnic fragmentation, weak transfer of resources to local government, the communities which are the informal groupings, not the elected bodies, are stronger, and therefore, given that I've made the choice to withdraw some money from the central government, I've used a checklist and compared the two groupings to pick the one that's most likely to deliver what I want from that money. So the idea is simply to get people to think as, how can I best use my last euro, in a sense? And I would say that I'm sure that I'm missing at least two conditions. I don't know what they are. let's say 4, because 2 makes it 13, an unlucky number. I'm missing 4 conditions, and with a 15 condition list with, no, in a sense, maybe 10 general one and 5 specific to a country, an area, or a continent, I could probably, at the margin, perhaps get a slightly more efficient policy.